All right, hello and welcome to this build guide for the turret Werebear. Yes, you heard that right. This is a Werebear that creates effectively turrets. They're not actually turrets, but they work like turrets. They're vines, but they might as well be turrets. In fact, in my opinion, it's the most fun turret slash totemy style build to play in the game. I ran across this playing in the tournament this past weekend, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I'm probably going to keep playing with it, and it's got a lot of positives. So I decided to make a build guide about it as well. If you've been seeing EQ Werebear around a lot and you're like, man, I really don't want to play that, or man, that's really busted, because, well, it is. It's broken in several ways, and you're looking for a Werebear build that's maybe a little different, this might be up your alley. If you like turret playstyle or totem playstyle, again, in my opinion, this is probably the best feeling of all those currently. So it just looks like this. This is how it works. We create little vines. And those vines shoot things, and they poison things, and then they kill things. It's a very relaxed play style. It's also pretty quick, like because Werebear has such a good kit. You have Rampage to get through the monolith, and you don't, or the Echo, and you don't have to stop to kill things, because you'll just Rampage, Maul, let these things shoot stuff, and you'll keep going. I'll show you guys how it looks. By the way, there's like two ways of making it right now. One is a little more damage. I'll show you both. A little more damage and a little more DR technically. But then I've also been messing with Usurper's Mandate, which has a really good sustain. So I'll show you a little bit of both of those. And you can play it either way. Of course, you need Usurper's Mandate, which is also a higher level unique. But I just started messing with that, so definitely not at all necessary for the build. Like, really not necessary, and it should be able to push pretty high content. I did push it over 200 waves in the tourney at level 80-ish. It could definitely do better than that, and it's got a long way to go on gearing. We're at 2700 health, which actually isn't all that high for a druid, so we've got a lot more we can gain on this build. So yeah, rampage through. When you stop rampaging, wherever it is you end up, you can just maul and let your turrets start killing stuff. You can do this throughout the entire Echo if you'd like. It's a very relaxed playstyle. You just run through things, maul, run through things. If you find yourself stuck in a bind, it's okay, because you've got Roar, which is effectively Warcry, and it will taunt things. You have it every 10 seconds. So you can always get yourself out of a sticky situation if you find yourself in one, and Rampage also runs through everything. It doesn't stop. So it's very hard to get the bear wrapped anywhere. So you don't ever have to really stop if you don't want to. Just keep looking until you find the objective. Keep putting out your vines and they'll start killing things, so if you don't get there quick enough, eventually they'll kill enough things to show you where the objective is. And then you can head over to the objective. So this is with the high damage. I'm actually gonna... I think you could really tell the difference in sustain because I'm not getting hit that much. But in fact, you know, I won't even put the other one on. Just know that the unique, if you want to wear it, offers you like a 25-ish% chance to get 50 health every time your minions hit, which is a lot. That's a lot of sustain. See there, I got hit quite a bit. My health did drop. If I was wearing that unique, it probably would have been back to full pretty quickly. This is one thing about the playstyle. This is the way I play the game. I play the game by pulling everything. You don't have to do that. You could just stop and kill stuff on the way if you want to, if you want even more relaxed playstyle. But if you like to play like this, you will see your health pop up and down a little bit if you get hit by stuff, but the sustain should be good enough to get you back. Maybe a potion every once in a while. So we got one more over here to kill. Actually, let's actually watch. Let's use the unique. Let's put it on. The only thing the weapon is doing, by the way, is increased damage over time for minions and increased spell damage, so we're not losing much by switching this. We are losing the shield, which is the bigger loss. Right? Get to the other one. It's a long Echo. Everything's all over the place. We'll shorten it with Rampage. Oh, another thing to point out, Rage is not a problem. Like some Werebear builds struggle a bit with Rage. This doesn't, because the vines create Rage. So you create vines, and vines create Rage, and you have Rage. You also might notice I'm CCing everything, because Entangling Roots is so strong. I just have it doing a circle every time I do a Maul. It's also buffing the vines. So everything works pretty synergistically. And everything eventually will just die. And all we gotta do is just maul around. If you do maul and hit an enemy, that's better because you do get a bigger damage buff for your vines, but you don't have to. They'll still die. Just take a little longer. All right, there we go. Okay, that's how you do it. Most of the echoes won't take that long. I clearly got lost a little bit, went the wrong way, had to go back around. So I had to kill some stuff to show off, but most echoes are pretty short. Okay, let's go over the pros and cons of the build. So the pros, I mentioned, it's a relaxed playstyle. You as a player don't have to do much. You don't have to stand your enemies. You can just maul and let the vines come out and start doing all the work for you. You don't have to target anything. In fact, you can't target anything with vines. They do their own targeting. A doesn't work on them like it does on many minions. They're more like totems in that regard. So they're pretty much they're auto target, auto fire. All you have to do is run around the echo and maul so they come out and let them do all the work. It's got really good health potential, EHP. Well, mostly HP potential because Druid just has high HP potential. So you can get into the 4,000 HP if you get really good gear. That's very possible to do. So that'll make you pretty survivable, pretty tanky. Gearing is very easy on this. I don't wear a single... Well, I've got this unique on because we were testing it, but outside of that one, I don't have any uniques in the build. And I don't want any uniques in the build. Idols are also not like super important. I want to get more health regen while transformed, but right now I'm only wearing one, which gives me 287 health regen. We can get this up to like 500 health regen with the right ones. But again, none of this stuff is necessary. This stuff I just cobbled together, and that's the performance we're getting. By the way, that was just a basic empowered. There was no extra corruption on it, but it's still 100 corruption there, and there was some modifiers on it. I had a few on, so it's not struggling at all with the content at this point, and it still has a long way to go. I'm only level 83, and again, all the gear is it's good gear actually, just because crafting is so freaking strong right now. So like it's all good gear, but it's all crafted items, and they're not hard to get because crafting is just that good. As long as you understand the crafting system, you can make really good gear pretty easily now. Any other major positives? Echo speed is actually really good. Again, that echo wasn't a very good example just because I got lost. But if you go directly to the objective, you don't have to stop. And maul every time you get to the end of a rampage, then keep going, maul, keep going. Your echo speed is going to be really solid with this build, and it's got a good toolkit with roar giving it a guaranteed stun, and of course maul, or of course rampage, and no problem whatsoever with rage. So that's another like big positive. No rage issues whatsoever. You don't have to worry about rage pretty much at all. Like you'll never really run out of rage. Okay, negatives. There's not like a whole lot to speak of. It's single target's not great. It's not terrible either. You'll boss fine, you'll kill rares fine. It's fine on that. Large packs, it won't kill super quickly. Like it's not gonna be like, again, like EQ Werebear is just gonna delete things. It's not gonna do that because the vines have to hit everything. We only have 40% pierce chance the way I built it. You can get more, but you're gonna lose a lot of damage. You can get that. That's actually up to 80% pierce chance. So it's not going to hit everything, which means it's going to take a little bit longer, but you saw the speed at things were dying. That's pretty much what you can expect from it. I think that's all the negatives that I can come up with it. It's just a really solid, fun, all-around build that can push both arena to a decent extent. It's not going to be a top-tier arena build. Like, it's not broken, it's not busted, which is another positive, I guess you could say. It's unlikely to get nerfed. Like, it's not so far out there that you're going to have serious issues with nerfing. Yeah, so that's everything that I think you have to worry about as far as negatives. As far as future patch considerations, I just mentioned I don't think it's going to get nerfed because I don't see a reason for it to. It's in a good place right now, but not a crazy place where it's just destroying content in a way that's not realistic for it or reasonable. So it should survive just fine. In fact, I got a little bit of a buff this patch, this hotfix. We had a hotfix come out today. that fixed some of the vines. We weren't getting as many vines as we were supposed to on every Maul. Now we are. So great. And there's a new affix that came out, adding a attack and cast speed for vines that I don't have on this build because of that. In fact, I'll try to remember to bring that up in the planner because I don't have the planner set for that either. That'll probably give it more damage as well. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. We've spent 10 minutes here just talking about the build. Let's actually get into the passives we'll start with. And then we'll go into the skills and specs. Or excuse me, let's go to the skills and specs first, then the passives. Okay. The first thing you're going to need to do, well, first is you're leveling it. So you're not going to be able to build it immediately, as you'd like to, because you have to get several things going. First, you have to get into Werebear. That's going to be at the end of time. Before that, you can just like you can run whatever you want before the end of time. You can run if you want to be super prepared. You could spec in a Fury Leap. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but you can run Swipe, then Upheaval once you get it. You can go Ice Thorns for spell. It doesn't really matter because once you get there, it's going to change dramatically anyway. Just make sure you have a decent melee weapon once you get to Werebear, and then you're gonna start by just using Maul generally, like directly. So Maul will be your primary damage until you can get down here with Fury Leap and pick up Rise and Poisonous Thicket, and also in Spriggan form, you're gonna need Garden of Rage. That's how you get your rage generation. So make sure you get this and this relatively quickly. Like, don't get this first. Don't take this as how you should get it. You should get these two things going immediately. And then you could even take Werebear third for that reason, because having Werebear is not super important. Noticing something weird on here. Okay, that's fine. So, yeah, so start with those. Get Spriggan form. In fact, you can play with Spriggan form. This is what I would do. Once you get to Spriggan form, play with that with Garden of Rage until you get this to here. And just run Spriggan form, and you can actually just use Werebear to get to places. If you want to take Voice of the Thicket, you can then alternate between Werebear and Spriggan. That's what I did. I just use it as like a stance type thing. And then once I got Fury Leap going, I switched over to full Werebear. So let's go through the trees exactly for what you need. So Spriggan form first. You're gonna immediately go over here, take 1 Overgrowth, 2 in Creeping Underbush, and 3 in Garden of Rage, so that you can get your rage per second per vine, so you never run out of rage. You have vines up, and then you'll never run out. You're good to go. After that, you can take 2 in Nightshade, and then 1 in Hunter's Bane. This will cause it to be a ranged attack, which significantly buffs it during single target, because the melee minions do good damage, but they tend to sit there and do nothing if the target's not really close to them, and most targets won't be really close to all of them. Even large, I've just noticed with large enemies like the dragon for Emperor of Corpses, they can seem like they're in his hitbox and just stand there and do nothing, whereas these don't, which is why I switched to them. So I actually really like the melee ones. I wish they were a little bit more reliable, but they're not. So yeah, Hunter's Bane is a definite want. Once you do that, you're just going to round it out with the damage. The vine damage here is great. Overgrowth. Rose Meadow is good. 8% per. I wish it was a little more, but this is going to start shooting out Spirit Thorns, so that's why this will actually work with it. And then Creeping Underbush is nice for the cast speed, and then of course Nightshade for additional poison chance is really good. You can take these kind of like just like 1 then 1 then 1 then 1, or maybe these 2 first and then these 2 last. Either way, any of that works. Okay, now let's look at Fury Leap. So again, Fury Leap's primary purpose is just poison thing. I actually need to take this off. We don't want that. We don't actually pull them into it. We want to just leave it as it is. That was when it was melee. So we want to we can take Panther Strike for a little bit extra cooldown. We can take 3 of 3, but start with 2, and then you can do 2 here. You can take that off too, and then you can do 4 here and then 4 here. That will get you going. That gets you to the Werebear build as you want it to be. Then you can come down here and take 5 of 5 in Warrior's Entrance. This gives global damage, which includes your minions, so that's really beneficial. And then I would actually take 2 here, so just ignore what I had over there. That was just wrong. I've updated this several times. Apparently I missed that on my planner. I'll make sure to get that fixed though for the video. Okay, after that you can go with Werebear, And Werebear is going to do one thing primarily for you, which is it's going to give you Wild Command. So Wild Command is increased minion damage, 200%. It says it stacks. I haven't noticed it stacking. In fact, it doesn't show up in the character sheet. It does seem to give you the 200%. I really wish it stacked, because if it did, this would be so much more powerful. I have reported it as a bug. We'll see if it gets fixed, but even the 200% is pretty solid. If that ever gets fixed, this is going to go like through the roof. So we're going to get that. We're also going to take Woodland Bear so that we can cast Entangling Roots every time we use Maul. To get that, you're going to need 2 here and 3 here. And then you can round it out just by taking some additional move speed while rampaging. Or you can take Earthsign Heart for Endurance and Endurance Threshold. Either one of those are perfectly fine choices. I don't think there's really anything else in here that's going to be valuable to you, so yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Entangling Roots. Entangling Roots is a very solid buff for our vines. The best part of it is Frenzy Thorns, where it wraps around your totems and vines. Well, your vines, it doesn't care which totems. And it gives them 50% attack speed. So it makes them much, much quicker. We're also going to go down here and take Reclamation, Noxious Grasp, and then Overgrown Garden. This gives us a circle effect. So it goes all around 360, so it'll hit all the vines. Actually, we don't even need this. We could take this out, and I'd actually recommend Briarthorn's Wrath here for the cast when stunned, just a little extra survivability on it. And then you can finish it off with some Venom Sting, which will also provide poison chance to your vines. You'll get the poison chance here, and you'll get the Frenzying Thorns here. And then Inescapable Thicket's really nice for just making sure that enemies are CC'd by it, because that's the other thing Entangling Roots does really well, is enemies get rooted in place, so they can't move, so it makes it a lot easier to move around them. The last thing we've got is a Terrace Blessing. And this is primarily just to give you an additional source of regen or of sustain. So you're going to get a self-heal here on Binding Heal. And also a chance to heal allies nearby, which will heal you again, because this will heal a minion. Every time you use any movement abilities, which is from the passive tree, and I'll explain that when we get to it. So that's how we're going to proc a Terrace Blessing, is through the passive tree. Also take an Ardent Touch 5 of 5 here. I'm actually going to switch these. I suggest taking one out of there and putting one in there. We have additional healing here, and we have another healing totems. This is all just for sustain. Ardent Touch, by the way, increases minion attack speed. It'll only do it on 1 vine, though, so it's not like great, because you have 12 vines at a time. But it's something, it's a benefit. There's not a whole lot in here otherwise. All right, that's all the skills. Let's go to the passives. Start with the base. We got some in the Gifted Wilderness here. I'm actually going to change this too. There's a couple things here that I don't like. We're going to take that out. Oops. I want them in here. There we go. Okay, that's better. That's where we want it. So we got 2 in Gift of the Wilderness and 8 of 8 Natural Attunement. By the way, Attunement's amazing because it increases their damage, but also increases their poison chance. So stacking Attunement is great for this build. We'll cover that a little bit more in the gearing section. That's why we're taking this. Also, obviously, the resistances are nice too, but Attunement's amazing. 5 of 5 Hunter's Restoration, because increased health is awesome. And then 5 of 5 Hunter's Emanation gives your minions 55% increased damage. We are taking 8 points in Shaman for the pen. Excuse me, not for the pen. The pen doesn't... Actually, no, the pen is good here, too. I thought the pen was good, and then I misread that. You and your minions penetrate. Physical Lightning. Actually not good here because of the poison. Doesn't matter, we want the attunement. Attunement's why we're here. The penetration's a little extra because they do some physical damage, but the attunement's why we're here. 8 attunements, a lot of... That's what, 8, 16, 32 poison chance for them, and 32% increased minion damage. That's why we want that. Okay, 5 of 7 here in Kindness Plating, Armor Endurance. It does give minion armor. We don't really care with Vines, so Vines are gonna die all the time. It's not a big deal. Spirit Warden, 45 health here. And then we've got 7 of 7 in Claws of the Forest for increased poison damage. Here's Attunement and Strength. Really good. 8 more armor for us, Attunement for them. It's awesome. Also, we got the all attributes on there. We're also taking 1 here, which is really just to get to 8 of 10 in Blossoming Garden. What Blossoming Garden is going to do is it's going to cause a Terrace Blessing to go off anytime we use a movement skill. We have 2 movement skills, by the way. You've got Rampage and Maul are both have the movement tag. If you look at Maul, got movement, does Rampage. So either time you use those, you will get Here's Blessing to go off. Okay. Next up, we've got 5 of 5 and Focused Wrath, just to help with the Rage Decay. Probably could take out of that, but just makes it even easier, smoother play. And then no Rage Decay out of combat. Again, we probably could take out of these because we get so much rage from the vines, but nice and smooth. But here's the 6 points you could potentially move around if you wanted to. Wind in the Leaves for the attack and cast speed for minions. That's really all we're getting out of this, but 15% is nice. Then we went full 10 of 10 for Harmonious Wisdom. You get the 10 attunement. Oh, by the way, attunement, I said it was great for scaling because of all the damage minions. Also gives you crit avoidance. Every attunement's 1% crit avoidance, so easy to crit avoidance cap with this build as well. We got 6 of 6 in Woodland Beings for the increased minion damage. I could take out of that. That's from an old attempt of a build. 6 of 8 in Overgrowth. Health regen's great. This gives you plus 10 health regen plus the 48%, so that's great. 10 of 10 in Toxic Reach for minion poison chance. And Hide Skin is great for the endurance threshold plus the health. Those are both awesome. I'm going to put this, let's see, I took a point out, put it right there. All right, that is all the passives. Let's talk about the gear. So, I'm sure I've got the gear proper because we noticed a couple of things I hadn't changed yet. Yeah, it looks good. Let's talk about the major things. This is like ideal. Obviously, I don't have 4,200 health right now, so you don't need it to be this perfect. But what are you really looking for? You're looking for base health regen, which you need on the gloves, you need on the helmet, and you need on the boots. That's going to help you skyrocket your health regen up here. Because like on this particular build, I got 538 if I had all this gear, which is obviously great. We're also looking for attunement. Attunement over minion damage, but minion damage is good too. Attunement is your friend. Trust me, you want a lot of attunement on this build. On your weapon, if you don't use the unique, you don't use the Usurper's Mandate, which here you can see the stat. There's one stat that matters in this. I mean, the health is nice, but 24% chance to gain 50 health on minion hit. They hit so often that you're going to get a lot. If you want to run that. You do not have to. Again, I'm still testing that. I don't know if it's actually better. It's definitely better for sustain, but I don't know if it's going to be better for just overall play. Because you are giving up increased damage over time for minions. Increased minion damage on the sickle if you get one. I don't even have one of those yet. Increased spell minion damage is a nice little extra for the hits they do. Just give them a little bit more damage on the hits. The damage over time and the melee attack speed on this are just something to put on there. Like you do a little bit of damage over time yourself, but the vast majority of your damage is coming from your minions. You do most of your damage through entangling roots, but it's a small fraction compared. So those are very much secondary stats to the increased minion damage over time. That's the stat you care about the most. Increased spell minion damage is icing on the cake, as are the 2 prefixes. The shield is a pretty significant amount of damage reduction. 35 block chance, tier 5 block chance, that gets you to potentially 47 block effectiveness. You can see over here on our defense, we have 47% chance to block. And at level 100, that will equal 37% block mitigation. So that's a significant portion of damage mitigation. The endurance on here is nice too. It just kind of helps us to get 60%, which we definitely want because we have a lot of endurance threshold. You can see we have 990 if we were to run it with everything on here. So that's about a quarter of our total health. So pretty solid. You definitely want, if you can get the +2 Spriggan form, you should be able to get it fairly easily. I didn't get it in the tourney, but I didn't really start focusing it until later. If I had, I would have easily gotten it. Because it is extra damage for your vines, so it's definitely nice to have. Health anywhere you can get it. So you might know, like I'm not even using, in this particular one, I'm not using any special class fixes. It's Vitality, Attunement, Increased Health. Again, I mentioned this earlier, a new affix did just come out literally today that adds attack and cast speed to your vines. That may be worth taking, so take a look at that. I just haven't seen the numbers on it yet. I think it's a helmet though. It's either a helmet or a body armor, whichever it is. Consider that in replacing probably Vitality or Attunement, depending on I don't think it should be probably replace attunement, but possibly vitality if you want more damage. It could also replace increased cooldown recovery speed while transformed over here. That is nice though for getting through maps a little bit quicker. It helps the cooldown with Rampage. It does help the cooldown with Maul, but you honestly don't need it because your vines don't die that quickly. So you pretty much always have 12 up if you're just hitting it on cooldown, even without this. That does make it a little bit smoother. It does also help you have your stun up a little bit more from Werebear's version of Warcry. I think it's Roar. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of things you want to make sure you get your endurance capped. I mentioned that. Of course, your resistances on every build is true. I'm taking take advantage of this relic here for Cold and the Croc to help me out. And of course, I got Bone Amulet for that. But the stats are pretty straightforward. Increase your minion damage, get lots and lots of attunement, get lots and lots of health, cap your endurance, get your health regen. So the coral rings are nice for this too. Silver rings, of course, for movement speed. Yeah, that's everything there. As far as idols, my favorite idols for this build right now are health regen while transformed, because that really helps us boost up the regen. And so we don't really leech much at all, if any. You may have, like, you can have this helmet that gives you leech. You don't do much damage on hit. You really don't do that much in comparison to most builds. So the health regen is really important to make sure that you have a good, reliable source of sustain. That on top of a Terra's Blessing is how you're getting your sustain back. So having a high health regen is valuable. As far as the prefix on the ornates, you can do vitality, and then more health regen on the grands. I'm filling in my Fizz res here on the idols and also vitality, which you can put in whatever resistance you need. Armor and health here, or resistance, whatever you need. As far as blessings go, I decided to take all my void resistance from Grand Echo of the Solarum. It's not set up this way on the build I was running yet, but this is how I would do it ideally. It's an easy way of getting that taken care of, and there's not really anything I want from this this timeline otherwise. Increased health regen from Grand Rhythm of the Tide on the Lagon fight is beautiful. Absolutely 100% want that. Chance to shred poisonous on hit is a nice little extra. Not super important, but if you got it, then you'll get some hits in and you'll shred some some poison resistance, and your vines will do a little bit more damage because of it, but not a big deal. Endurance threshold here is good, definitely good. And armor here is very good. We don't run a whole lot of armor right now, so getting a little extra there is very nice. All right, that rounds out all of the gearing. Sweet. So yeah, rotation wise, I think I covered that pretty well. But again, just really quickly, rampage to your objective. Whenever you stop rampaging, maul so that you get your vines out. Rampage some more. Get to your objective, rampage some more, or not rampage, you maul some more. Maul some more on cooldown, basically maul. Try to hit a target with maul if you can. If not a big deal. You can further use rampage to get out of anything that's in the area, any stuff on the ground, and then use roar as your oh crap button. I got too much stuff around me. I gotta get out of here just so that you can stun them for a quick second. And using roar and rampage together are really great too, because you can roar, stun them, and then immediately just rampage out. Since rampage doesn't worry about hitboxes, it doesn't have collision, it just runs through enemies. All right, that's everything for the build. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this build as much as I did, and I hope you're enjoying Last Epoch as much as I do. If you'd like to watch me play these builds or make these builds on stream, I do it about 6 days a week. Would love to have you there. Also have a Discord where the community is pretty active and willing to answer questions. Would love to have you there as well. All right, thanks again, and I will see you all again real soon.